If you think one bullet started World War I, you're missing the 10 men who made sure the empire never survived it. Episode 17, The Officers of the Broken Crown. 10 men, 10 destinies, and a crown shattered under the weight of history. In the East, the Ottoman Empire was breathing its last, and in the heart of Europe, another empire was dying, quieter but deeper. An empire that once stood as the cultural and political heart of Europe, now breaking apart in the flames of the Great War. This is the story of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, a kingdom that did not fall to its enemies, but to itself. Chapter 1. The Empire of 1,000 Faces. At the dawn of the 20th century, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was the third greatest power in Europe. Under the black and gold banner of the Habsburgs, 16 nations lived together. Germans of Vienna, Hungarians of Budapest, Czechs of Prague, Serbs of Belgrade, Romanians of Transylvania, Croats by the Adriatic, a dual monarchy, 2 capitals, 2 governments, dozens of languages. Outwardly united, inwardly divided. Nationalism, religion, and politics tore invisible cracks through its golden crown. Yet Emperor Franz Joseph, old, stubborn, and unshakable, kept it all together. For over half a century, his rule held back the chaos. But time was changing, and the empire could not change with it. Chapter 2, A Spark in Sarajevo. June 28, 1914. Sarajevo. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the throne, was assassinated by a young Serbian nationalist. In that moment, the empire trembled. Its generals and ministers, led by Konrad von Hertzendorf, chief of staff, blamed Serbia and demanded war. They got their wish. But that declaration would not just destroy Serbia, it would destroy themselves. The attack on Serbia lit the fuse of World War I, and Austria-Hungary entered the war divided, exhausted, and unprepared. Even its soldiers couldn't speak a common language. Chapter 3. The War of Attrition. The empire's first campaigns were disasters. In Serbia, whole divisions were wiped out. In the east, the Russians crushed their forces in Galicia. In the Alps, the war turned to ice. Men freezing to death, buried under avalanches rather than bullets. But the real war was not only on the front lines. At home, hunger spread through Vienna and Budapest. Prices collapsed. Ethnic uprisings shook the countryside. The army was starving, the people desperate. When Emperor Franz Joseph died in 1916, the last symbol of order died with him. His successor, Karl I, was young and idealistic. He wanted peace. But to his allies in Berlin and his generals, he was weak. He tried to negotiate secretly with the Allies. When the secret was exposed, his credibility was gone. After that, unity shattered. Hungary declared independence. The Czechs proclaimed their own republic, and the South Slavs united to form a new kingdom. Chapter 4. The Fall of the Double Crown. Autumn 1918. The army was collapsing. The Italian front disintegrated. Vienna was starving. The streets are filled with chants. Peace, bread, freedom. On November 11, 1918, the very day Germany surrendered, Emperor Karl signed his final declaration. He did not abdicate, but he renounced all participation in the government. A polite way to say the Habsburg Empire was no more. An empire that had ruled for 6 centuries had died in 4 years of war. No revolution, no execution, just exhaustion and silence. Thus, a golden crown fell, not to gunfire, but to gravity. Chapter 5. The Officers of the Broken Crown. But before the empire breathed its last, there were men who still fought for it. For honor, for the crown, and sometimes for themselves. 10 officers, 10 faces of a dying world. Some heroes, some tyrants, all bound to the same doomed fate. The 10 dangerous officers of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. 1. Konrad von Hotzendorf, the relentless strategist. The mind behind the empire's military machine. Brilliant, arrogant, obsessed. He dreamed of war so often that he finally got one and destroyed his own empire with it. 2. Svetozar Borowicz, the Lion of the Alps. Hero of the Italian front. He built fortresses in the mountains that no enemy could take. Faithful, fierce, and loyal to the end. 3. Eduard von Ermali, the loyal general. Even when the empire crumbled, he obeyed every order. A soldier of discipline in an age of collapse. 4. Franz von Denta, the cold tactician. Calm, calculating, unemotional. A man who fought for order while the world burned around him. 5. Oskar Potiorek, the fatal mistake. Governor of Bosnia. His failure to protect Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo sparked the entire war. History's deadliest driving error. 6. Karl von Plonzer-Bolton, the forgotten general. In the Balkan swamps and Carpathian peaks, he led starving men through impossible battles and refused to surrender even when the empire had already fallen. 7. Joseph Broth, the Iron Bird. One of the empire's first fighter aces, a knight of the air, fighting above an empire that was dying below. 8. George von Trapp, the Hunter of the Sea. Commander of the Austro-Hungarian submarines, a terror to Italian ships, and later, the man behind the real-life story of The Sound of Music. 9. Archduke Eugen of Austria, the Prince of War, the last royal to fight in the front lines, noble, disciplined, and tragically loyal. 10. Franz Rohrberg, the last gun of the empire, a field commander who kept firing his artillery even after Vienna had fallen. For him, surrender was never an option. Final chapter, the silence of the crown. 10 men, 10 destinies. Together, they carried the last heartbeat of an empire that believed itself eternal. But when the dust settled, nothing remained. Only fragments of loyalty, pride, and loss. They fought for a crown, but the crown had already died. Officers of a broken crown. In the next 10 mini-episodes, we'll explore the rise and fall of each of these men, from the frozen peaks of the Alps to the collapsing streets of Vienna. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because in the next episodes, you won't just hear history, you'll feel the last breath of an empire. Some empires fall to bullets, others to silence.